I'm sure I speak for all of us in saying we're all big fans.
I'm a fan of the show, so I'm a fan of you.
Thank you very much. So why did you, with so much to talk about, because your parents immigrated from Cuba.
Yeah.
You got two Cubans
in the race.
Yeah. Which is just really interesting. And you're coming out for Trump. Why?
I think that my feeling is after, and I've met Ted Cruz, and I had a nice contact with him, but I really believe that Trump has the best chance to lead America to a better place. It's obviously he's not as strong or as experienced in policy as the other guys in the race, but I think that he'll catch up, and he's catching up. I think that he will choose the best and the brightest for his cabinet if he wins, and I think he can win. And in Hollywood even I see people who never have thought about politics, who just don't really care, and they're feeling this passion for Trump because he makes them feel like we have a chance to turn the country around.
That's the thing. He makes them feel that we can turn the country around. They don't necessarily want the specifics. They just want to know that there's going to be a tough guy in the White House fighting for them.
Absolutely. And the fact that he's always won at everything he does. I mean, he's been doing it for so long, and I don't believe that he will allow himself to lose or to let America lose.
Yeah.
Are some of your friends in Hollywood who are now engaged, would you consider them to be liberals or traditional Democrats? Is it crossing the board?
I would say that most of Hollywood has been leaning towards liberal policies, and
which is why when you sat down, I asked you, did you get pushback from your colleagues in the business? Because we know that Hollywood is liberal.
You know, but those of us who feel this way are not that vocal because it can be detrimental to your career because of. Listen, it's hard enough.
In other words, you won't get movie roles because you're a Republican?
No.
Is that what you mean when you say it's detrimental to your career?
It can be.
Yeah.
It can be.
We're being honest.
I mean, honestly, yeah, I've seen it. I've actually seen people get slighted and get sort of pushed aside or ignored or called crazy. That's the other thing.
Yep.
Is that if they, you know, if you talk about certain things, let's face it, there's also a tendency to sort of shut down the opposition, and it's happening in colleges all over the country. That's been
You're
happening.
absolutely right. Free speech, that's a horrible story.
To just push back on any discussion for conservative principles or just anything that's not liberal policy. There's a fear of conservatives and of right-wing politics, and
you're right.
That's been going on for a while.
You're of Cuban descent. One of the things that Trump always says is that he's going to win Hispanics in the general election. But if you look at the polls, if you look at the numbers, he's underwater in some polls by 60–70% with Hispanics. How does he change that in a general election?
That's been my question too. And I worry about that because I worry that he's underestimating the pushback from the Hispanic population. I think that there's there's also the possibility that there's a lot of people who are still in the closet, and the Hispanic population. I mean, in terms of believing in Trump, and so. You got to count on that. You can count on that possibly there'll be a lot of people who have never come out to vote. What the polls are showing is that the ones that are already out, they're very vocal about not liking Trump. And
I think that's really interesting because people are afraid, Dagan, to say, you know what, I'm with Trump because of this. What he has created. I mean,
particularly in very liberal communities, whether
absolutely.
it's New York City or Hollywood. Will you aggressively campaign for Trump? Because you could help him immensely in terms of the Latino vote.
I'm thinking about it. I'm really thinking about it. But again, there's a few things to consider still in terms of career and you know, public image. But I have thought about it.
What does he need to resonate with Hispanics, do you think?
I mean,
he won Hispanics in Nevada, but that was a small number.
Yeah, I know. And also, you know, the Hispanics are not all, they're from different, from different places. There's a large Cuban community in the United States now. And the Cubans that I've talked to all want Trump.
Really?
Yeah. So,
why don't they want Marco Rubio?
You have a Democratic president
who's
normalizing relations with
Cuba. He's normalizing relations with Cuba, but we don't really believe, the Cubans, the people from my community, don't really believe that he's demanding anything of them. In other words, what's that doing for the Cuban people? Oh, it's opening up relations so that we can travel there, and the whole world can come to Cuba. But no one said that Cubans are now going to be allowed to travel and leave the country there should be some, or that there's going to be any insisting of a representative government in Cuba. Why continue? Why condone the oppression of the Castros? And if he's going there just for a photo op and to his legacy, it's not really helping the Cuban people.
Right. Stephen, really well said. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Steven Bauer. Any movies we should be on the lookout for that you're working on right now?
There's a movie that I just did with John Boyd, who's my mentor and my good friend. It's called JL Ranch, and that should be out this year.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Steven Bauer joining us there.